Hello, my name is Tomo Reusser, and for this presentation, I'm going to be talking about the rhetorical situation of brochure writing, specifically for metro parks. Before getting into the nitty-gritty of brochure writing, it is important to first understand what the metro parks' priorities are in general. In a comprehensive plan for future steps for the Franklin County and Columbus metro parks, Executive Director Tim Maloney had this to say. Throughout, we are guided by a twofold mission: to manage our resources and to provide an experience for our visitors. So, the metro parks has a twofold mission, but which do we focus on when writing brochures to be read by the public? For our purposes, we will be focusing on the metro parks mission to provide an experience for the park's visitors. As such, the brochure should make visitors aware of the various programs that the park offers, any events that might be going on, or sites that they might find interesting and may not have known about beforehand, such as trails, scenic spots, or even other parks. Brochures can also be used to educate the public about local wildlife and relevant environmental issues. This would even tie into the park's first mission to manage and conserve park resources by encouraging visitors to do their part by doing things like throwing trash away in specified areas and never feeding local wildlife. Now, let's move on to the nitty-gritty of brochure writing. First, we want to look at the metro parks audience. Tim Maloney, the metro parks executive director that we heard from earlier, had this to say. Metro Parks serves visitors that span multiple generations with varied socioeconomic and cultural backgrounds. Our staff communicates with a community-wide and culturally individualized audiences. The strategy calls for improved methods of communication and collaboration to cultivate a sense of pride for our metro parks. So, we can see that the audience is very diverse demographically. In order to keep this audience in mind when writing brochures, it would be a good idea to avoid things like pop culture references, cultural buzzwords, or idioms. This would help to accommodate people who might not be native English speakers, as well as appeal to our socioeconomically and generationally diverse demographic. Again, our general purpose is to increase public knowledge of our parks and hopefully increase park visitation. And our topical focus is brochure writing specifically. When it comes to creating the brochures, a big thing to keep in mind is that they need to be formatted according to a standard. Even though the brochures will be spread throughout many different smaller parks and sites, each site still falls under the jurisdiction of the metro parks. The formatting of the park's brochures should be uniform in order to promote a sense of unity and professionalism to visitors. These last few general tips are taken from an article called businessknowhow.com. From businessknowhow.com. The first tip that we are given to focus on is sell, don't tell. The article states, to get the customer's attention, your brochure needs to focus on the benefits that they will enjoy by making a purchase for you. Although the metro parks programs wouldn't necessarily require visitors to make a purchase, it is important that the brochure makes clear to visitors what benefits they can expect to get from our programs. The second tip that Business Know-How gives is that brochures need to use headlines and graphics that the audience cares about. According to Know-How, the average reader takes less than 5 seconds to glance at the cover of a brochure and decide whether or not to read it. For our purposes, graphics showing people doing the activities being talked about or pictures of relevant wildlife would be best. Thirdly and finally, brochures should use bullet points to focus the key features of the product or service. The article goes on to say that feature-rich bullet points will help keep the customer focused on what you offer and lead them towards the action you want them to take next. This is a pretty technical point, but it's very important. The information in a brochure needs to be well organized and easy to follow so the park visitor can get the information that they need. Alright, that's all I have. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you know a little bit more now about what writing brochures for a metro park entails.